about his character. Jeff was a unique soul, a man of small stature, but with a big heart and even bigger opinions. And although we didn't always agree on everything, we always respected each other's opinions. He was the kind of person who lived fully with a passion for helping others. He was dedicated to causes that mattered to him, and his love for Diana was evident to anyone who saw them together. I also noticed the love that he had for his family, which he spoke about a lot. I only met one grandson and, on 2 occasions, and the excitement and joy Jeff and Diana showed when he was here was truly special. One memory that always brings a smile is from our first Fun and Friendship event. We had afternoon snacks for the kids, and somehow I ended up taking home Diana and Jeff's silver tongs. I still laugh at the joke we shared, the black girl stealing the silverware. I could joke like that with Jeff because he had a lightness about him, a sense of humour that made those moments feel effortless, and I still have the tongs, by the way. But he wasn't just fun-loving. Jeff was also an incredibly professional and organised. He knew how to get things done, and the success of our events was a reflection of his commitment. My only regret is that I never asked him more about himself. I'm usually one to ask questions, I'm always curious, but with Jeff it always felt like we understood each other without needing to say too much. I recently learned about his incredible career, his work as an internationally renowned professor of linguistics, and his achievements as a published author. And I feel I missed the chance to learn even more from him. So Jeff, I'm sorry I didn't ask more about you. When Diana called me last Sunday, and asked me to speak, I was truly honoured, but something a little bit strange happened. After our conversation finished, I opened Facebook and a memory popped up, a photo of Jeff, a photo of the Autumn Festival actually, maybe 10 years ago. There was Jeff standing there with Billy Beale and Francis Letters and another unknown man. Just out of the blue, this photo popped up, and I felt like it was a message, a sign that there are no coincidences and that Jeff's presence was with us in that moment. Jeff will be dearly missed, especially by Bruce and myself, but I take comfort in knowing that he passed peacefully, surrounded by love, and left this world on his own terms. It made me think of my own father's passing. He was escorted by 3 black cockatoos along the tablelands, 3 bush turkeys that met him on the plateau at the top of the Dorrigo Mountain, and into the valley 3 grey kangaroos met him at his final resting place at Burridge and Jargon in Kempsey, where he comes from. Just like Jeff, my father was surrounded by love and comfort, and I know they are both at peace. Wherever we go when our time here is over, I'm positive that the journey is filled with love and light and laughter, because the light of those who have gone before us shines so brightly. When I think of Jeff, Diana, and all the friends I've met because of them, I'm reminded of the powerful allies I've had in this life. People who are doing the hard, often quiet work of making the world a better place. They're working for reconciliation, justice and healing, and Jeff was one of those rare people who truly embodied that spirit. He loved himself and others enough to do the hard work of truth-telling and of healing, so that we could come together and at least try to repair what is broken in this world. Jeff wasn't just a good person. I'm sorry. He was someone who made a real difference, and I'm so incredibly grateful to have known him. Thank you.
Thanks, Fiona. The next contribution is from Nick Evans, recorded earlier. Nick was a close friend of Jeff, and he's Professor of Linguistics at Australian National University in Canberra. and we're going to integrate his presentation into the live stream, and we should have these lights down a bit, I think, Leo.
Hi Jeff, I'm sorry I can't be there. Hi Jeff, I'm sorry I can't be there to say goodbye properly. I'm far away in another Creole birthplace in Cape Verde in the Atlantic. I first met you in a yoga class at ANU in 1982 when we were both starting on our PhDs. The yoga teacher used to laugh when we couldn't hold our poses, but you held yours much better and longer than I could, and you stayed like that. I was immediately drawn to you, your rough face with its kind laughter lines etched on it already. You were older than me because you'd come back to study after working in the Peace Corps in India, becoming fascinated with Hindi, and then going on to look at what happened in Fiji when indentured labourers from all over northern India came together and devised a way of talking to each other, reflecting their new situation, free of the intricate formalities of caste and local divisions. I felt that was very much in your spirit, someone who would always find a way to talk to anybody, to listen deeply to anybody, to laugh with anybody. And throughout your life, you were someone who knew how to bring together your work as a linguist, which should always have those qualities I mentioned, with a commitment to social justice, whether that be using a stigmatized variety of language in education in the Pacific, or developing materials for a very small, under-resourced language in Papua New Guinea, or more recently, getting rights for appropriate interpreters for the Yazidi community around Armidale. Later on, our lives converged when we both began working in different villages in the Morehead region of Papua New Guinea, very close to Northern Australia and Torres Strait. And again, the personal and the scientific flowed together for you here when you began work on the Nama language spoken by your son Ben, who had come back into your life, the fruit of an earlier relationship with Yoshi. And I know how much it meant to you to be able to work in that very special way, both with Ben and with the whole village of his origins in the Morehead district. I always felt it was also part of your ever youthful approach to learning that you had gone from looking at Creole languages, which are basically created to make it easy to talk to anybody and have been streamlined, to working on Nama, producing the wonderful grammar and dictionary that you did. But at the beginning you said, I don't know if I can do this. But you took it on It was very different to what you'd done before, and you did it masterfully. My last conversation with you was something I had feared. I knew you were dying. It's never easy to make a phone call to someone when you don't know if it's going to be your last chance to talk. But there you were on the phone, your voice as warm and humorous as ever. You didn't really want to philosophize about the transience of life. You just wanted to ask about family and friends we had in common, follow up on projects, talk about ways that some sort of mobile phone app to put your Nama dictionary online could be developed. And so, right there, near the end, you were still living as you've always lived, in the moment, full of joy and fascination at everything that's around us. I have to say a final goodbye now, an appreciation of how much your friendship meant, and also to Diana and Ben and Brooke and all your family and friends, a big thanks for the way your love and care made the last year and something of Jeff's life a way that is probably one of the less cruel and less difficult paths to death and to the end of a life that for none of us lasts long enough. So goodbye.
At the conclusion, first of all, I want to thank all the presenters. It's not easy to get up. Thanks. It's not easy to get up under these circumstances and say what you did, but you all did it admirably. I'm going to take the privilege of drawing the proceedings to a close with my own tribute to Jeff. I wrote this and was privileged to read it to him and Diana after a lovely home-cooked meal at Fatuma less than 2 weeks before he died. Some of the things I said to him were about things that he and I had done together, and that's of little general interest, I imagine. So I'll admit those bits. Though I will end with one small personal segment. Of course, I'm largely echoing other people's tributes to him presented here today and in other ways. But if these words reflect aspects of what you said or would have said to him, then you might find some comfort in knowing that he heard these words in the final days of his life. This is what I said. I imagine that over the last little while you've been looking back over your life's course. I'm not privileged to know what you've concluded, but here I want to list some of the things that I believe you're entitled to say about yourself. One is that you should be content with your life. That may sound rather lame, but it's not meant to. It's shorthand for saying that the world is a better place for you having been born into it and having lived the life that you have. The most outward sign is a substantial catalogue of community projects that you've served, like refugees, public broadcasting, justice for the Indigenous population. Most of the activities that you've been engaged in have been far from glamorous. The frustrating business of chasing down bureaucrats, of form filling, of pushing parliamentarians, of inspiring and doubtless settling the nerves of your fellow advocates. But it's all a sign of how you could turn values into actions. Many of us share your values, but but that's where it ends. You're among the few to spring or perhaps drag yourself into action and get stuff done. You've improved the world too through your academic contributions. Much of your work is highly technical, itself testimony to your smarts, but you've not been content to let it rest there. Using the lens of language, you've expanded our understanding of how groups and cultures clash, submit, dominate, infiltrate, and sometimes learn to live in harmony. This living in harmony matters for more accurate and more nuanced view of humanity, the starting platform for realising the fruits of what little we humans have in the way of peaceful impulses. You've been ambitious for your discipline without the shallow sort of personal ambition that too many academics display. Humbly ambitious, but successfully ambitious. So you should not just be content, but proud of these public-facing aspects of your life. You've carried them off with boundless energy, enthusiasm, intelligence, and compassion. I'm in awe. In your private life, you've also been an inspiration. Your love and care for Diana is manifest. You've embraced her children, and of course, Ben and Brooke and theirs. As a step and biological father, no one could have done it better. And you've been a sparkling grandfather. All kids should have a grandparent like you in their histories. The major earlier segments of your life I haven't been privileged to observe. Growing up in Chicago, attending Cornell, volunteering in Fiji, your times in New Zealand, Canberra, India, PNG, Vanuatu. But some of the sketches you have drawn for me of what you're up to during those periods show me that you are living life with the familiar verve, fully, committedly, adventurously, often enough dangerously, that is, exhibiting the full repertoire of ideals and personal resources that characterise those parts of your life that I have observed firsthand. And now the little personal reflection. If, as now seems likely, I outlive you, the hole in my life will be huge. We could count on each other to join in whatever harebrained scheme the other came up with, and at some point I will need to be content with reliving those precious memories. Thank you for all you are and have been. So now please join Diana and the family, refreshments at the back of the hall, and thanks for your attendance.